Hey everybody and welcome back. My name is Bob with GamesRC. Today we are diving into the world of RC chargers. In this video we are going to take a look at the ToolkitRC M8D smart charger. Today we're going to do a quick overview of the spec and a quick demo of how to get started charging LiPos. First off, let's talk about the specs. The M8D supports LiPo, LIHV, LIFE, Li-ion, LTO, and just about any other battery that you're going to use between RC, FPV, and anything hobby related. It is a 1S to 8S charger. It is a 2-channel charger at 1600 watts or 800 watts times 2. Output current is 30 amps per channel or 50 amps in synchronous mode. Input current is 10 to 49 volts DC, so it is a DC only charger. And last but not least, they added a touchscreen interface that also has a physical manual operation as well. Okay, let's go through the in and out on the charger. Here you've got the user interface, and it is a touch screen. It is adjustable, so if you have it up on a stand, a charger stand, you can put it at any angle so that you can see it and reach it from where you're sitting. We do have a couple of physical buttons here for navigation as well, so you don't have to use the touch screen. On the front we have channel 1 and channel 2 for your output for charging. You have 2 to 8S capability, and these are XT60s that are outputs. On the back we have your 2 fans. We'll hear those in a second when the device turns on. And on the back also you have the TF card or the SD card, and you have an XT90 on the input. This is for the heavier amperage for the 50 amp charging, or if you're charging 2 8S battery packs at 30 amps each, you do get a total of 60 amps output. However, when you do it in synchronous mode, you're only going to be able to charge at 50 amps. And so they've upgraded the input. As you can see on these are my other 2 that I use. Everything is XT60. And so this is the M6D, and it as well has the XT60 on the input. ToolkitRC does provide an XT90, a female XT90 for power input. However, it does not come soldered with a XT60 on it, so you will have to add one if that is your preferred choice, or whatever power lead that you need to have on here. You could go directly into a DC power supply like I have here. In the back here behind the box, this is my 60 amp 12 volt power supply. This could theoretically, without the soldering joints, get tapped down directly into it, and then this could go into the back of the charger, so you do not have to solder if you have power inputs available for that specific device. The nice thing about Toolkit chargers, most of the chargers out there you can do this with, but the nice thing about Toolkit is that they allow you to power the device with anything. This specific one, so I believe that these devices, the M6 and the M6D, are capped at 36 volts. Don't quote me exactly, it might be 32, but I'm pretty sure it's 36 volts for the input. Okay, and now that I'm actually sitting here looking at it, the M6D is 28 volts. And this one as well is 28 volts. On the M8D, this device, they have upped this all the way up to 49 volts. And also on the back here, I didn't show this before, there is a Type-C 65 watt capable charging port, so you can charge laptops or any devices that can handle that higher power output for USB-C charging. Okay, let's go ahead and get this guy powered up. Two ways that this can be powered, and we'll get a little bit more into using a LiPo battery, which I have. Reach across. I have right here. This is a smaller one. This is typically what I use just for desktop bench testing or discharging or charging a battery quickly if I need to. That way, most of the time this DC power supply stays packed away in my race gear stuff, so it's easier for me just to have a battery sitting out. And I'm going to get a little bit more in depth of why in the field using a LiPo 4 battery is very beneficial, or having one on your bench. And that has to do with, at the end of the day, if you storage charge your batteries, which you should be doing, all of the Toolkit chargers have a function called recycle discharge, and basically what that allows you to do is discharge at a much higher amp rate than the internal discharge can do on the device, but you have to do it from a battery bank. You can't do it when you're using the power supply. So for today, we're basically just going to go ahead and use the battery bank, because the power supply has loud fans on it. So we're going to go ahead and do this. This guy plugged in, and you should be able to hear the fans kick on. It goes through a fan test. So we'll go ahead and let it do its thing.
Welcome to ToolkitRC.
Okay, and so we heard it fire up. It does talk. You can adjust all of that. You can change the language in the UI. I'm not going to get into it today, but I can't remember if on first boot out of the box if it comes up with this screen or not. However, I'm going to show you how to get here through the settings menu. I have this set to come up when the charger turns on every time, because I do, like I said before, bounce back and forth between battery bank and DC power supply. So today we are on battery. The power is not 1600 watts. We should not have it set to 1600 watts. It should be your voltage times your amp hour, which I believe is right around 150 to 156, something like that. Watts is what this can output. You can go a little bit higher than that because it will burst higher, but you typically want to have this set to 160. At which point you're going to select. You can see I also have an adapter setting and then another adapter setting, so you can use multiple different adapters and set it so that the device won't pull too much current out of either the power supply or the battery. That way you're not stressing any one of your devices. So today we're just going to select this because all we're going to do is really go through and do a quick guide on how to get started. This is your user interface. It is, like we were saying before, touchscreen. You have your input voltage. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here. That's a little bit better. Up in the top left, you have your input voltage. You actually have the P1, so you know what preset is set. The current, which is the amp draw, which is going to be 0 at this point because we're not charging, and then the watt hours that is pulling out of the power supply or the battery. The only place that you're going to see if your USB power source is being utilized in the back is right here in the center. Here you have the internal temperature of the unit and the fan, which is not currently on, and then you do have the SD card installed. I'll get into a little bit more of what the SD card does and how to utilize that in a later in-depth video. But my understanding is that you can log charging data. which is actually a pretty cool device if you're into doing speed runs or getting the most out of your battery packs or seeing degradation in your battery packs. So pretty cool feature to have. Here we have channel 1 and channel 2. Basically what we're doing, I need to grab a battery pack real quick. We'll just grab a 2S pack. If the device was on my normal charger stand, I wouldn't need this balance lead, because you can literally just plug these directly in, but because of how it's sitting, I just want to put the balance lead in here. Black wire always goes to the left side of whatever port, and it is labeled negative, negative. And so from where we're at, we're just going to plug that guy in. I use XT60s on all of my 2S packs, and I use XT90s on all of my
Battery connected.
There you go. It's going to let you know that a battery's been connected. Also, there's LEDs on these ports. These ports, you'll see that that's going to change so that you can at a glance tell what's going on with the charger. And now that we've got the balance lead plugged in, we can actually get a hold of some info. You can see where the battery's at. It has been storage charged. It's a little bit off on the balance, but I mean that happens when batteries sit for a little while. We're at 3.8 volts and 3.857 volts. So we can set profiles in here, but for now we click the standby. And these are your battery profiles. I believe that you can do up to 10 different battery profiles in here. And basically it's kind of a one-touch setting so that you don't have to go through and change anything. So this is currently set for a LiPo at 4.2 volts per cell and at 8 amps. That's not what we want to do. I recommend charging at no greater than 1.5 C. And again, I will have another video down the line that explains the basics of LiPo batteries. I would definitely look for that coming soon. It's super important if you're just getting in. Okay, so what we want to do is we can delete this profile or we can modify it. We can change the battery type here, and you can see all of the different supported battery types. There are a ton of them, including a user-defined. And you can use it as a power output as well. So we're going to select LiPo, which is where it was. End voltage you can change if you want to. So if you were running an LIHV battery pack in a stock race and you needed to have it charged exactly to 8.4 volts, you would set this back down. Even though it's an LIHV battery, you would set the voltage back down to 4.2. Battery mode, we have some options. We have charge, discharge, storage charge, cycle, and destroy. So for now, we're just going to do charge. We're not going in depth. And then battery cells. I normally just leave this to auto because then if there's an issue with one of the cells, it's going to pick it up automatically. But normally I just leave it to auto. The charge current is a little bit wonky to use the touch. It just moves a little bit too quickly, so maybe down the line they will Toolkit will provide an update for that. So normally what I do is just use the scroll wheel on the side until I get down there. You want to one click, and then you can get a more granular adjustment. So if we were going to do 1C charge, it would be on this specific battery pack, which is 65. I don't know if you guys can see that, 6,500 milliamps, which is going to be 6.5 amps on a 1C charge. Go back in, so we're going to drop that down to 6.5. Click, go down to confirm, and then you've got start or back. We just want to hit start and hit OK. And you can see that the LED port has changed colors now, so you can look at it, and if you're walking by your setup, you can know that it's still charging. To the left side, we now have some more information that we can look at. We can see that it is charging at 6.4 amps. Now 6.5, kind of bouncing, teetering a little bit. It's putting 50 watts into the battery. Here's your current voltage, and there's your amperage. Okay. You can see also at the top the battery bank that we're using has a little bit of a current pull on it. It dropped down to 12.94. It has 4.2 amps of current being pulled from the battery at 0.7 watt hours. Fans are not on. Now we can come in here and click info, and we can see our individual cell voltage as it's coming up. And whoops, go back. Info. If you scroll on this, it will actually give you more information. And so here's your resistance on your cells. This specific pack. This isn't going to be super accurate right now because we just started the charge. I would give it maybe 3 or 4 minutes before this will get a little more accurate. But if we keep scrolling, you can see that we're charging. LiPo 2S charge, 4.2 volts at 6.5 amps. Don't have a temperature because there's no temperature gauge on the battery. So if we were to stop, channel 1 stop, that's how you stop it. Okay, now if we go back into standby and let's say that we want to use our preset that we've made here, we want to modify. So now we want to go back to storage charge. I'm just going to show you real quick. Discharge current set to 6.8 amps. Well, you think in your head the internal limit's going to be on this specific device is 5 amps per channel. So how could it do 6.8 amps? This is the magic of the recycled discharge, is that it uses the battery bank and actually takes the current and puts it back into the battery bank. Now this all has to be set up, so I don't recommend doing it right off the rip. Please wait for another video that explains exactly how to set this up, because you need to set up the input power to be set as a LiPo 4 voltage, and you need to put a cap on how much voltage will go into the battery, otherwise you can damage your LiPo 4 battery. Now there are some new features and some new additions to the firmware that have come out. I have not updated this specific charger yet because I want to do a video on how to update it. As we go along and go more in depth with the charger, I'm definitely going to make more videos on how to do the specific functions, and I'll go a little more in depth on the process for each of those things. I hope you guys enjoyed the overview. Keep an eye out. There will definitely be some more in-depth videos coming soon. You can check out the full lineup of ToolkitRC chargers at the link I've provided below. That's going to do it for this one. I will see you in the next one.